The deadline in this sector for voluntary presentation at the experimental center is 6 o'clock.
You're supposed to be an artist. Use your imagination.
Oh, thanks a lot. I'm all out.
What's happening, everybody? Shelton J. Think About It Radio once again in your ear. We here for you, man. We here. Once again, we got our segment straight from the streets with my man, Mr. Vincent Booker in the house. How you doing tonight, my brother? Introduce yourself.
Yes, sir. I'm good, man. I'm good, bro. Another day, bro. Blessed, man. You know, try to make it happen out here, bro.
Yes, sir. That's what it's about. That's exactly what it's about. Making it happen, doing what you got to do. Hey, shout out to everybody out there. Y'all liking the fan page. Everybody supporting the show. All the comments, the questions, the t-shirt purchases, everything. All the love for my special guests jumping on with me and everything. Thank you, man, for that. All the interviews, everybody, man. I just want to say, man, before we even get started anything, thank y'all very, very much. And I do not take that for granted. You dig? Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Mr. Booker.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up, bro?
I had a question, man. It
Go
was
ahead,
on
bro.
my mind, and I've been thinking about it all throughout the day. And
Right.
I just had the discussion with my co-host and everything. We was going back and forth on it, and he has different views on it. And I was asking it about the N-word. And
Right.
how we say that word and we use it, we say as terms of endearment, but we'll get offended, I guess, if someone else uses it. And so what I want to ask is that how can a word that has so much negativity and so much pain, I guess, associated with it, how can we grab that word and say, well, it's us now. We take ownership of that. That's our word now. And why would we, I guess, what's the benefit of taking ownership of a word that holds so much negativity?
I mean, brother, in my opinion, I think in today's generation and our generation, brother, what we really have done, we have taken a lot of the power from the word, and we've redefined it. You know what I mean? We redefined what a nigger or the N word is. You know, this is a non-formal talk show. We need to talk about this, brother, because it's an interesting question. But like I say, in my opinion, we have taken the power from the N word. We have redefined it. Because like I say, brother, on any given day, you'll find Europeans, you'll find Asians, you'll find Hispanics, you know, all from all races and all nationalities using that N word to describe each other. So we also, it makes us aware that the negative that came behind it is no longer looked at it. It's not looked like that. We feel it more because it pretty much started with us. So when we reflect on that word, we kind of cringe because that's where it started from. But I mean, like, can we honestly say, like, if two Hispanics are talking to each other and they're using the N word toward each other, does that mean the same thing that it meant for us? I don't think we agree that they do. You know what I mean?
Right. And I get that. Right. And to piggyback on your point, you say that we took the word and we redefined it, right? And we put our own spin on it and made it mean something else, right? Okay. Why do we have to take that word? I mean, can we use something else? The reason why I ask that is because we were stripped from everything, right? Our home, our culture, our identity, our religion, our everything. We were stripped from everything. Right. And so now we end up coming over and we became this identity. And now we were stripped with that. We were stripped from all that. And then now we were called that particular word, but we still identify with that same word. So because we were stripped of everything else, do we identify ourselves as that word? Because we hold on to it and embrace it because that's what we had? You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I see. You know, what I would say, brother, is that in the direction that, you know, for the conscious brothers out here, for the brothers that know it, actually trying to do something with, you know, and make that change. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
We try to put ourselves in environments to where, you know, that nigger pretty much where it doesn't even exist. You know what I mean? Because if you don't acknowledge it, it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? So for it, being that it's been instilled, bro, since we've been here all those years, that word is going to remain. It's going to remain just like the other words in the dictionary. It's going to forever remain. Mm-hmm. But with the backdrop on that word, we have to redefine it, because to leave it like it was is to feel that every time we hear it, it identifies one of us. It's just like if someone calls you that or someone called me that, I would be offended. I would be offended because it does not apply to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't apply to me.
I get that. I mean, I get that point because you don't identify with it personally. What I'm just saying, since there are so many words out there in the English dictionary, as you say, to use, why is that word still hanging around out of all the other words? You don't hear other races talk about each other like that. I don't hear it either. I'm not around a bunch of races, but what I'm saying, when I'm seeing, when I've had the experience of being around, I don't hear them talk to each other like we talk to each other. Now, we have our own slang, we have our own dialect, and that's cool. But I'm saying, though, because there are so many words out there, that one don't have to be the one that we use. And we say we took the power away from it. If we took the power away from it, then we wouldn't be pissed off if somebody else used it toward us in a negative way. So we hear it and we get desensitized to it, and then we'll have two different sides. And the listeners that will hear this, they're going to be two set of beliefs on this. Some can care less about that word and anything that comes with it, and some would be like, you know what? Why, that is true. Why do we use it? Why do we have to hang on to that word if there's so many other things we can call each other? How about call each other brother? How about king? How about queen? How about, bro? Anything.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying, though. We dress stuff up the same way with soul food, right? The food
Right.
that we got, the scraps. We were given the scraps, okay? But
Right.
we made something out of that because we had to. Was soul
Right.
food meant to last as long as it is now? Were we still meant to go pay $14, $15 to go eat that?
You see, brother, it goes back to what we've been trying to convey, since day one. It's like,
Yes,
we have to go back. We have to re-educate ourselves, right? And this is why I say, brother, I always say, when brothers start, when we put down these phones sometimes and actually start reading, expanding our horizon, we're going to start learning different things. You're going to pick up on different vocabulary. And once that starts to happen, the language is going to change. You know what I mean? Because you're going to find yourselves in situations where you can't be dumbed down. So you have to always be prepared. And the thing is, like what we're trying to do, we have to get this information out there to the people and actually start talking about it. Just like when I talk to you, when I address you, it's always bro. It's always bro.
Likewise.
And I use that, it's always that. So we have to get everybody, we got to try to put as many brothers and sisters as we can to go to using that language, because once we start using that language, the N-word will just fade away. You know what I mean? But right, it's just like, me and you and Brandon talk, we got to give them another narrative out here, bro. And we have to be vocal about it.
That's exactly what I'm saying, man. We have to put something else out there. But most of the music, the beats and everything like that people are listening to, the rap music and all that, is in those lyrics. So if that music isn't changing, if what I'm constantly putting in my psyche, if what I'm constantly putting in my mind, if that doesn't change, then my narrative isn't going to change. My vocabulary isn't going to be different, because if I'm hearing this on a regular basis, I'm going to just start talking that way. That's just what you exposed to. That's just like being in a room full of cigarettes. You're going to smell like smoke, whether you smoke or not. So it's the idea of how long is it going to take and how much work is it going to take to really change that? Because they say, as a man thinketh, so is he. And again, you have people that would take the N-word. You say we dressed it up and made it, but it's still the N-word at the end of the day. The same way where we'll have the Black Lives Matter movement, right? That will get upset and mad when a white cop kills an unarmed black man, which is a tragedy, this is wrong and it should not happen, and something should be done, and they should be punished if they go just unjustly take a life. All right. But at the end of the day, when we do it to ourselves, right, then you don't garner the same amount of sympathy, right? Because, they're killing each other. Because soon as you bring that up, they bring up what? Black on black crime. So the same thing when you bring up the N-word. Okay, well, you get mad at me for saying it, but y'all say it to each other. So what's the difference? So it becomes what side of your neck we going to talk out of, and what are we really going to stand for? And what do we really want to stand for? And if we want to stand for nigga and say we want to say it in a way to where it's, hey, man, it's fly, we done dress it up. Cool, do your thing, player. Do it. But don't get mad if somebody else say it if you say ain't no power to it then.
You're right, brother, and I agree with you. I would say, bro, the first thing that, we need to do as a people, bro, is, like, actually start focusing on ourselves. Mm-hmm. Like, we have to forget what others think. We got to forget what other people got going on, because other people are being productive. You don't see other people doing a lot of the things that we do. It's like even with the language, and I agree with you. And I think that one of our biggest problems is we spend a lot of time focusing on what others think, even amongst each other. Yes. Everything we do is for one of us to say, well, man, that's bad. This looks good. And we got to get out of that. Right. The like on Facebook. We got to get out of there, bro.
I do it for the love, not for the likes. You did?
Exactly.
That's why I do
exactly.
it. That's why I do it, man, because and that's what this whole thing is about. Is about the love. And so if you love your brother, you love your sister, I'm not gonna bring something with me in a conversation that had pain attached to it. I'm not gonna dress it up and put something on it to make it sound a certain way. It got pain attached to it. So why would I go want to inflict pain? Why would I want to go do that? And haven't we gone through enough? We've been through enough. So we got to be able to start healing one another and loving one another and then talking to each other in endearing ways, in loving ways, in uplifting ways, rather than the same word. But because we dress it up, it don't mean the same. It's still spelled the same way. Yeah. So as you say, though, man, we have to have that unity and then that wanting. You have to want it, though. You have to want it. You go to the buffet. You pick and choose what you want, right? You have to want the information. You have to desire change. You have to look at yourself and you say introspectively, say, okay, I can do better. I can speak better. There's other words that I can use besides that word if it holds destructive behavior to it and has destructive roots to it. So, because once you start digging to the roots, then you start realizing, oh, man, I didn't see this. Because on the surface, all you saw was, just a little bit of stuff growing out. Oh, I can dig that up real quick. Now, once you start digging, it's a lot deeper than what you thought. It's a whole lot deeper than what you thought. But because we distracted, because we major and we major in minor things, one, okay, and then two, we practice a lot of behavior that's destructive rather than constructive.
And that's true, but I agree with you, brother. And then it all goes back to that foundation, bro. Like I say, I have to always go there, bro. It's like when we deal with our history. A lot of times we say, well, that's old. It happened 200 years ago or whatnot. But it's one of those things to where, bro, if you do not understand what actually took place in the conditioning with our people, you are still stuck in that history, which I call his story. You're not in a future. You are still there. Because if we understood the history, if we really understood the history, the change would have started a long time ago. We wouldn't still be in this place now. What's done happened is, brother, they don't got us to the point to where we don't reflect on history enough. We think just because it happened 200 or 300 years ago that it's not relevant today. But we haven't moved anywhere. The structure is still the same.
Not one bit. But as we said before, though, if there's a system in place and it's working for some and not for others, then it wasn't designed to work for you, and it was designed to work for the other individual, and so it becomes a race. It just becomes a race, and you just steady pulling and you steady running, and you're not going nowhere. You're just moving your feet, but you're not moving. You ever had a dream, right, to where you're trying to run, and you got to run, and then your legs are just some of the heaviest in the world, and in your mind, you saying you got to move, but for whatever reason, you can't move, and you try to wake yourself up because there's some impeding danger that's coming on you, but in your dream, you can't get nowhere. So we've been running, we've been moving, but we haven't been going anywhere. And I'm not knocking any progress that's been made out here. I'm not knocking any of that. I'm just simply saying, though, as you say, though, we got to sit back and start from the beginning. Start from Roots. I would tell everybody as a project, watch Roots. Watch Roots.
Yes.
And to give you the
Roots
whole story. Watch it from a learning perspective. Watch it from a history perspective and see how the game was laid and see how every